Okay, so today we will learn something that will help you tremendously in your freelancing career. So we are going to get started. So in the previous lecture, we created this canvas, and this is a world canvas. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to add a very simple script, which is going to help us scale to screen size. And this is sometimes required. Some clients ask for this, and the solution is not available for some reason. It's not easy to find, so hopefully this is going to help you tremendously. Okay, so we're going to create a new monobehavior script called this scale to screen size. And once we have that, we're going to put this on the main menu right here. And I'm going to use my IDE to edit the script. Okay, so once we have placed this comment in, we're just going to try to use our IDE to set a namespace. If right now it's processing, so I'll just start working. So the first thing that we will need is a reference to the rect transform that is attached to the world canvas. So private rect transform rect transform of canvas that needs to be scaled. And I'll use my IDE to quickly provide this namespace. Okay, this should be the rect transform of the canvas that we wish to scale. This should be or must be a world canvas for this to work properly. Okay, so now that we have that, we also need a reference to the camera. So serialized field, private camera. Reference to the camera that will view this canvas. This should be the camera that will be used to view the canvas. All right. So we don't need the update function. We do need, since we already have the rect transform, we need to actually have the screen size. So we are going to get the screen size right now. And this is going to be vector 3. And we're going to get the screen size, which is going to be camera dot viewport to world point, and this is going to be vector 3 dot up plus vector 3 dot right. And since this is going to give us half of the screen size, we are going to multiply this by 2. So we don't really need these brackets that I've placed. I think this is going to be fine without the brackets. So this is what we require. So this basically gets us the screen size. This is the code that you use to get the screen size, okay? Now we are going to And now so we're going to comment this. This is the size of the screen. We got this by accessing the viewport function provided by the camera. Okay. Now we have to get the size that we will need to basically we'll need to get the size. And this size is going to be used for the local scale of the canvas. So that's what we're going to do. So float size for local scale y will be screen size dot y divided by, we are going to get the rect transform dot height. Sorry, it's rect dot height dot y. And I think it's not dot y, it's actually just y, because height is basically that's the value that we require. So these are the values that we will use to change the local scale of the variable. Size for local scale x. Actually, I'll write value since this is really not the size. Okay, changing the local scale of the here. It's the rect transform, the local scale. And this is really the code that we need to write, except that I'm just going to change it. That was the AI auto-completing it, but this is the actual value that we require. I'm just going to compile the code using Control R. I have switched my IDE to basically compile things manually. I'm going to assign this over here, and then I'm going to assign the camera right here. All right. So you can see that we're in free aspect right now. As soon as I'll click play, hopefully it'll work. So let's see. And for some reason it didn't work. So let me just take a quick look at why this isn't working. Okay, so the problem was that the main camera was set to perspective. This will not work unless it's set to orthographic. So that was basically the error. This will not update, so you'll see that if I stretch, this will not work. So whenever I change this size right here, I have to restart, so it'll play. And now the screen will basically stretch to any size, all right? So this is how it works. So if I stretch it, like if I decrease the size, you'll see that the size will also be decreased like that. So this is basically a solution that many people require, but they can't find it. So let's go ahead and also apply the same solution. It'll be a little bit different for our scenes, which is going to be our character controller scene. So you'll see it right here that basically we cannot apply the solution over here because this is a 3D scene and our camera is definitely a, it's a perspective camera. So what we will require is we will basically need to make sure that we have a camera that can only see this entire scene inside of a 2D view, basically. So we're going to have another camera which is going to be untagged, and this is going to be the camera for stretching. This is going to be an orthographic camera, so we're just going to have this orthographic. And once we have that, we are going to make sure that we have another layer, which is going to be the gameplay layer. And this camera is only going to basically see, I think the layer was added. Okay, it was added. So this camera has its priority to -1. This camera is going to have its priority to 0. If we make this -2, you'll see that this camera, the other camera, is going to be drawn first. So I'd like to keep this at 0. And this camera is basically going to render only the where is it? Let me see. Volume mask, update mode. Where was it? There was a setting. Yeah, it was in rendering. Okay. You can see culling mask is just going to be nothing. And then we are going to immediately change this to gameplay layer. And this camera is going to, it won't render the gameplay layer. So the main camera is not going to render the gameplay layer. And this camera for stretching is going to render the gameplay. Okay, now that we have that, we're just going to go, and this is right now, I think it's in 2D. So we're just going to change this to 3D back again. And whatever this camera sees, we want this camera to basically project it somewhere. So we're going to move the main camera for stretching. We're just going to position this at 0, 0, 0. The rotation is also going to be 0, so it's going to be like that. And we're going to change this to some very high value, like something like that. Okay. So this is where the actual gameplay will be rendered. And in order to keep things simple, I'm also going to, actually I should change this to -10. This is going to help me a bit, so -10 will be fine. Now I'm going to go to, where was it? Okay, main camera is over here, camera for stretching is over there. And now we can basically change the output. Where was it? Rendering stack. Don't remember. Yeah, it was at projection. So the projection is going to be let's keep it 100. Okay. All right, now that we have that, we're going to go to scene_main menu, copy this. And we are going to go to corrector controller test. And we're just going to paste this right here. So this is where the canvas main menu is going to be. And we're just going to put this at -500. So it's right there on the camera. So you'll see it right there. It's right over there. And this is going to be on the gameplay layer. Now you'll be able to see this. Okay, so it is also a good idea to basically make sure that you can actually change this. Like, this is basically the gameplay layer, but it's a good idea to also have it render the UI in the future. So right now we're just to save time, we copied the main menu right here, but this is of course not going to, we will not have anything over here. We'll instead have a raw image, which is going to be UI, canvas, and then a raw image. And this raw image is going to be raw image, gameplay image. This is going to be 1920 and 1080. So you'll hopefully see this right here. Then this main camera over here. This will have an output. So the output is going to be on a render texture. So we're going to go to, I think we should add this inside of prefabs. So this is going to be rendering related. Although this is not really a prefab, it's basically a material, but I'm going to put this over here anyway. So now we're going to go to, I believe, render texture. Where was render texture? Well, it was in rendering and render texture. There it is. Render texture, gameplay, render. We're going to go to main camera, and now this is going to be there. And this is going to be 1920 by 1080. And now this raw image is going to, actually this should be canvas, gameplay canvas. And this raw image is going to be over here. So you'll see this be over here. And you can also see that that's appearing very, very strange. So if I go and click play, this is not really going to, it's basically not going to look good right now. So you can see that it's not looking very good because of the render texture doesn't have very good quality. So we're going to go, and first of all, we're going to delete the second audio listener that we have, so we don't have that error. So we're going to go to the camera for stretching, and we deleted the audio listener that was attached right here. So once we have that, we can go to this renderer right here, check if everything is okay. It appears to be fine. Filter mode should be point. We can have dynamic scaling. We'll have anti-aliasing as well. And let's check. I think the color format is fine. Depth is okay as well. And I think this might appear better. Let's see. So you can see that this is appearing fine, except we have these artifacts right here. So you can see these little artifacts right here. That's due to the render texture. And we also have an error right here. We're just going to basically scale to screen size that's already attached to Canvas gameplay. So I'll just delete this so I can show it to you again. I'll go to scripts, constants and utilities, scale to screen size. This will be over here, and camera for stretching is going to be over here. And for some reason this didn't work properly. Okay, so the reason why this wasn't working is because the position was -500, and over here it was -500 as well. The position of canvas underscore gameplay canvas needs to be 0, 0, and the camera underscore for stretching it also needs to be at 0, 0 and 0 basically. Then this only works because there was a problem with the viewport, and now it's working fine. And also you might be able to see that the artifacts are still there, but they're also there on the other camera, and this is basically due to aliasing, but it's less now, and that's because I've changed this to 1920 x 1080 over here. It was first over here, so right now it's a little bit blurry and there's a lot of aliasing, but as soon as I change it to 1080p, it's going to be fine. So you'll see it's a bit better. It's not like 100% okay. It's just okay. So this also gives us that ability where we can change the free aspect and just stretch this right like that. If you do that, then what you're going to see is this right here. So you can see that the game kind of stretched to the entire screen. this is going to be, hopefully this is going to be very useful for you, because this is a solution that is very difficult to find.